All right, we're back broadcasting live from the Toms River Auto Group studio right here in Northville. Billy Schweim, Nikki Earnshaw producing, co-hosting, and now it's we got Dan Adams in here, and we're gonna start Memorial Weekend off with the Beach Patrol report as we've done now. Like I said, Dan, this is like our 8th, 9th year doing this, man.
It's been a long time, Billy, and it's always good that you promote lifeguarding and promote beach patrols and South Jersey lifeguarding as a whole, because it's an important part of South Jersey.
Yep.
And the lifeguard circuit is just so important, especially if you were a lifeguard. It means the world to all of us.
You got the alumni, the parents, girlfriends, friends, everybody. It's a community.
And you know, you've been at these races with me, and we sit there. The crowds get bigger and bigger every year.
Every year.
There's not even – sometimes you wonder where we're going to put all these people when you get to the Margates or to the Jersey event. But, just great events. It's great for the community. It's great for everyone. And
now it's time for the Beach Patrol Report, brought to you by McCann Realtors of Sea Isle City, 4111 Landis Avenue in Sea Isle. For rental and sales, call 609-263-7422 or go online at McCannRealtors.com, where you can also keep up with all the South Jersey lifeguarding news and racing schedules. And by the Ocean City Beach Patrol Lifeguard Alumni Association, this summer honoring all lifeguards with 25 years of experience of service in Ocean City, reminding you to be safe and swim near a guard. Now, Dan, let's go to the Toms River Volkswagen Sports Hotline and welcome into the locker room last year's South Jersey champions of the Beach Patrol. And let's welcome in the chief of the Avalon Beach Patrol, Matt Wolf. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning, Billy. Good morning, Dan. How you guys doing?
Good. Matt, as soon as I talked to Dan this morning, I said, man, hearing his voice, it's summer's here. And hearing you, the same thing, man. We're back at it.
We're back at it. Our guards are down there 10 a.m. this morning. We were live.
Tell your brother Eric we're asking about him. And you guys, Avalon down there, you guys were last year's South Jersey Lifeguard Champion. But you had one heck of a year, Matt. I mean, you not only won the South Jersey Lifeguard Championship, your wrestling team won everything.
Yeah. To double up in the same year is pretty special. And a lot of those guys were on both teams. So we got a lot of guys down there sitting on the stands today that were members of the Middle Township wrestling team that won South Jersey this year as well, yeah.
Matt, you know, I've got former chief of the Longport Beach Patrol, Dan Adams, in here with me, like I said. But you being the chief of the Avalon Beach Patrol, tell our listeners of what you guys do in preparation for the season.
So, I mean, in terms of getting ready to actually have lifeguards on the beach, I mean, there's a lot that goes into administrative tasks in terms of budgeting, payroll, obviously, making sure that we have lifeguard stands, equipment, boats, oars, all that kind of stuff, and then training. Our guys go through close to 24 hours of online training before they even show up. And the trick is to kind of get everybody through the door this morning, because a lot of guys they're working or they're in school still, and so they got to show up last night or this morning to kind of get through their requals real quick before we send them down to the stand. Our guys were down there swimming this morning at 8 in the morning to get through their last requals to get onto the stand today.
And Matt, how many beaches will be open in Avalon this summer?
So Avalon, we have our full complement of beaches open. Every beach is open every day from Memorial Day Saturday, which is today, through Labor Day.
Hey, Matt, I'm going to interject here because a lot of people think that the lifeguard chief position is a seasonal operation, and being a former chief myself, it is a 12-month-a-year job. You finish the season, you start working on the budget for next year. January, you get your return letters out, you start ordering equipment. It's not a part-time seasonal job anymore. This is a full-time job for a lifeguard chief.
Yeah, and you know that better than anybody. Anybody that's a chief or even an officer really in the organization understands that. I always like to say it's like a slow burn, from about, like you said, Christmas time until Memorial Day weekend. It just kind of slowly kind of builds to that crescendo where you're actually, like I said, we're live at 10 a.m. We got to have guards on the stand, and there's so much that goes into putting guards on those lifeguard stands.
I've been out 8 years now. This is my 8th summer not being on the beach. And I tell you, the first 2 years I missed it wholeheartedly. But, God bless you guys. You can't pay me enough because I worked from Memorial Day until October 1st, 7 days a week with no day off. And I don't miss that.
And you know what else too, Dan? Like people, like just the average person that comes down to the beach, they see the two guards in the stand or whatever, and they just think, but they don't realize what it entails. The whole, from the soup to nuts.
Absolutely, Billy. And I still remember the day when it clicked in for me, the responsibility factor that goes with being a lifeguard. And when that finally clicked in for me, I was sitting there, twirling the whistle like we do.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy cow, like every person that's on this beach is my responsibility, especially the people in the water. And once that kicks in as a young lifeguard, your perspective of the job changes. And hey, Matt, you've been at those meetings and the lifeguard chief meetings when I was the president. There was a lot of times that I'd have to pull everybody back in and focus on life-saving and not just on racing. Racing is important. We all love it. But in the end, the most important factor is everybody that comes to our beach goes home at the end of the day safe, sound, and with their family. And that's what matters.
And that's exactly what we said to the guards this morning. That is exactly what we said to the guards this morning. And the competition, I think, is something that we value because we think that it makes us better lifeguards. We think that it pushes things forward. So, but it's not the end-all, be-all. So, for example, you're coaching a wrestling team, the goal is to win that South Jersey title or whatever it is. But when you're talking about lifeguarding, the goal is bigger than that. Like you said, it's to make sure everybody goes home safely. And competition is a way of improving skills, a way of keeping everybody sharp, but it's not the end goal, if that makes sense.
We're talking with the chief of the Avalon Beach Patrol, Matt Wolf. Matt, Avalon has a pretty good safety record. I mean, how many average rescues do you guys make a year?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. It depends on the year. But you know what? I'm sitting at my computer right now. I'm going to pull up the exact number for us for the last couple of years. If you can bear with me one second.
Right.
2
Billy,
years ago,
everybody thinks that number is low, but it's way more. And everybody thinks you're padding the stats, but you're really not.
Right. Okay, give us those numbers there, Matt.
Yeah, so we consider a rescue anything where we're making physical contact with a baiter, right? So if a guard, runs out there and the person ends up standing up, they just kind of swim on their own, we're saying, okay, great, that's not a rescue. Maybe we helped them or maybe we prevented a rescue, but we're not counting that.
Right.
Anything that's a rescue for us is something that we actually laid our hands on somebody had to physically pull them in. So last summer that was 395. And I'm going to check. The summer before 2023 was much higher because the water was much warmer.
Wow,
so we
how
had more
about
people
that?
in there.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, we deal, the big factor is too, Matt, and as well as I, when we get some of these storm surges that come through and you get that rip tide and rip current, you could have 80 rescues in a day. Yeah. And it's not uncommon.
Yeah.
And it's it all depends on the water conditions, the water temperature. And, we used to have like a little rivalry in Longport, and some of the guys were more focused on trying to prevent every rescue. And that was their bragging right when they called in the rescues at the end of the day. They'd be like 0 rescues, 3 first aids. And that was more important to them than someone saying 10 rescues, 5 first aids, So I agree with you.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. So we preach to the guards, we're preventative rescue. There's different ways of lifeguarding. I don't think people realize that in different parts of the country and parts of the world, people do it differently, but we focus on preventative lifeguarding. We want to prevent the rescue before it happens by keeping people out of rip currents and by making sure that we're keeping a close eye on them. But 2 years ago, I had that number 2023, said that water and really warm water, so a lot more people in there. We had 900 rescues that summer. And I actually remember the last one that we had. It was the last weekend we were working, late September, and we had 899. And I already had all my reports done and everything done, and I'm at 899. And we had one with 10 minutes left in the day, a real serious one in the inlet. A fisherman fell in off the jetty, and we had to send several guards in, point out, and it just kind of reinforces the point that, like, you can never relax. There's never a moment off, and Dan was making that point earlier, like that responsibility. People don't realize, but we don't advertise them, but we have response teams even in here as early as 8 in the morning till 9 at night. I mean, we're kind of always on. We're always on.
All right, now you guys in Avalon had a great year last year. You guys won the South Jersey Lifeguard Championships. You're going to host it this year. Congratulations. There's had to be a whirlwind winner for you in Avalon down there. you look forward to this year. You're going to be hosting the race this year.
We're excited about it, and we talked about the beach, and that's number one. But make no mistake, our guys are already out there training. Like I said, we were down there swimming this morning. Our boats are on the water. We've got everybody back, and then some.
When's your test, Matt? When do you have a test for your new guards?
So we had a test last Labor Day for this summer.
Okay.
We hired some there. We had a test in early May, and we do that in the pool. And then they're now they show up today, and they're literally in the ocean as we speak. First day of rookie school.
Wow.
With Lieutenant McGrath, Captain Black down there. So we got to start them early, right? The crowd is here, and then we'll do a second test next Sunday, June 1st. So if anybody wants to try out, it's not too late. Follow us on Instagram, Avalon Beach Patrol, and the information's right there. And then we'll do another rookie school for that group towards the end of June, like when high schools and things like that let out.
Beautiful. Now, Matt, we plan on being down there broadcasting live the South Jersey Lifeguard Championships. Dan Adams and I and Jack Brooks and John McShane want to cover it live. We're looking forward to that, and we really appreciate having you on today.
We can't wait.
All right, Matt Wolf. As always, we appreciate it and look forward to talking to you again.
All right, Billy, Dan. Good to talk to you guys. Have a good day. Have a good summer.
Take care, Matt. Stay safe.
There he is.
All right.
Matt Wolf on the Tom's River Volkswagen Sports Hotline. Dan, do you have the race schedule? Do you have a tentative race schedule? Can we go over that?
Yeah, I have most of the race schedule here tentatively.
It seems like the calendar is like it was late. Like things are late this year.
Well, it's just.
We forgot to ask you about the Kerr.
You know what? Matt, can you shoot Billy or I a text if you're listening and let us know when the Kerr Memorials, because we didn't have that.
Yeah, we forgot to ask about the Kerrs. So give us the tentative race schedule.
So we're going to start off the lifeguard season on July 7th with the Brigantine Lifeguard Invitational. Then we go July 8th to the Longport Women's Invitational. July 11th, and this is part of the reason why it's pushed back. July 4th falls on a Friday, and nobody's going to host a race on a Friday night of July 4th.
Fireworks will be going on.
Fireworks and everything else. So the Captain Michael D. McGrath Longport Memorials on July 11th. You have the Ocean City Women's Race on July 15th. You have the Atlantic City Lifeguard Classic on July 21st.
That might be the week of the Kerrs.
Because
that's what I did last year. I went down to the Kerrs.
The last 2 years, the Kerrs and the Atlantic City Classic were on the same date.
Okay.
Then we go into our big three. You got July 25th, the Dutch Hoffman Memorials, which is a little earlier
Wildwood,
because of what it is in Wildwood. Then you have July 27th, you have the Brigantine South Jersey Paddleboard Championships.
Okay.
And then the Lifeguard Pool Championships does not have a date, but that'll be sometime in the late part of July. Then you go to August. Earliest it can possibly be is August 1st, the Margate World War Memorials.
Right.
And what an event and an honor and a tribute to our veterans.
Yeah, Margate rolls out the red
past.
carpet for us. You guys do a great job. Get us on the beach with that truck.
and kind of significant with that, we bring the Army truck down for the Margate, World War Memorials, so it's awesome. And then we go the 6th, which is the, unofficial Women's Lifeguard Championship for South Jersey's, is the Bill Howarth Women's Lifeguard Invitational, August 6th. And then we finish up with the South Jersey Championships on August 8th. And as you know, the Goudies are always the following week, so that'll be August 15th.
I got to be honest with you, Dan, I hate the Goudies. You know why?
Why is that?
Summer's over.
Summer's
over. Why I'm interviewing people in the dark? You get off the beach, it's dark.
But, Billy,
Nick, I mean,
I know.
When I do the Longports, when I do the Kerr Memorials and the AC Classic, it doesn't get dark until 8:30.
Bright sunshine.
8:45.
Yeah.
But by the Goudies, I'm interviewing people in the dark.
And that happens even in the Margate Memorials.
Yeah.
And but Billy, we got to talk a little bit about the South Jerseys and the scoring, because we've talked about this before. Remember, Longport won their first championship in 2016.
How could I forget? You were the chief.
But it wasn't all about winning every race. Yes, Mike McGrath capped off the night with a singles row.
Right.
But they scored in every single event.
Right.
And that's exactly what Avalon did last year.
Yeah.
Because they had one first-place finish, and that was Ryan Finnegan in the singles.
Yeah.
But, their swimmer...
and that was a photo finish, too, if I remember correctly last year.
Their swimmer, Alex Zolden, finished second. And their doubles crew, which, we didn't even get a chance to ask, but he did say that everybody's back. But their doubles crew of Dave Gillian and Gary Negel picked up fourth place.
Yeah.
It's all about points.
Well,
in the
we'll have
South
Matt
Jersey.
back on to talk about specific racing. We wanted to get him on to talk about the actual safety part of it. 'Cause I think that's very important, Dan. You know, as a former chief, it's dangerous swimming in the ocean. Now we forgot to ask Matt how cold it would be for him to get in the water. But like you said, when the water's warmer, more people swim.
Yeah. So, one thing you have to say is people have to understand what the safety and aspect of lifeguarding is. You always need to swim near a lifeguard. Do not think it's okay to swim somewhere. Don't think it's a good idea to go in next to a rock pile, a jetty, or an outfall pipe, because what happens in those areas, they create their own rip currents that pull you right out and potentially put you in a dangerous situation. You look at a lot of Atlantic City's after-hour rescues. They're all around the jetties and the outfall pipes.
So be careful.
Always swim near a lifeguard. Another key factor is never swim alone. Make sure you always have a buddy. You're always out there with somebody. Don't just go out in that water by yourself, because nobody's there to signal anyone if something were to go wrong. And just pay attention to the signs of the water. If you really look at it closely, it tells you a story when you're watching it. So if the water looks disturbed,
but to the naked eye, if somebody's not familiar with the ocean, they wouldn't be able to pick that up.
Well, most of the beaches now put signs on the back of their lifeguard stand explaining rip tides and rip currents. So that information's available. And, hey, go up to your lifeguard and talk to him.
Yeah.
Ask him about the water conditions.
Don't just ask what time it is.
Or ask him what the water temperature
is. All right,
is.
Matt Wolf just got back to me. He said the Curs are Friday, July 18th at 6:15.
There you go.
So what's that go up against? July 18th.
I'm looking at that now, Billy. That would
because the Curs, I know there's going to be a race. There's another race on that date. Maybe not.
No, I'm looking now because
Friday the 18th.
How about that?
The Classic is scheduled for the 21st,
so maybe
which is a Monday.
Oh, so there you go.
So the Curs are on Friday by itself.
Yeah, that'll be perfect. All right, we'll be able to cover it all.
Yeah.
The locker room with Billy Schweim. Nick will be down there.
Schweiner.
So
you know what? When we go to break, we're going to try to look. We're going to look up a couple of the. Maybe we have to call. To the doubles finish. That was I think that was or the singles when Finnegan won.
Yeah.
That was a
I'll see if I can find it.
We'll see if we can find it. We'll play it on the other side. For over 83 years, the Circle Liquor Store has offered the best selection of beer, wine, and spirits in South Jersey. It's a stone's throw away from Ocean City. It's a landmark with a friendly staff. It's no wonder why Circle Liquors was named Best of Philly, Best of Atlantic City, with the most competitive prices around. The Circle Liquor Store is now a proud sponsor of the second hour of the locker room with Billy Schweim. Throwing a party, preparing for the game. Let Chet and his staff make sure you have everything you need. Check out the website at circleliquors.com or give them a call at 609-927-2921. They deliver. Just about everybody in our area has heard about the Jersey Man and Philly Man magazine that is run by ex-Philadelphia tight end Ken Dunnick. But were you aware of their private business network they call the Legacy Club? Every month they'll have private events at upscale locations in Philadelphia and South Jersey that attract over 200 top business people. If you have an interest in attending one of these events and seeing it's fit for your business, send an email to ken@jerseymanmagazine.com or give them a call at 856-912-4007 for more information. When we return, we'll wrap it up. You're listening to The Locker Room with Billy Schweim, Nick Earnshaw, and Dan Adams right here on 97.3 ESPN.